What the fuck is up, gamers? Welcome to Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die. Not a threat.
Just a fact.
My name is Josh, aka Johns McSlane.
I'm Alex, aka Cynthia Up the Butt Girl Nixon.
Oh god.
I'm Zach, aka the Tomb of the Unknown Poster.
Oh god.
Great. Well, welcome to this week. The end of August. September is upon us. How do you all feel about fall?
My birthday's in September, so I like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I like the sort of like being able to wear more clothes instead of sweating.
Instead of fewer.
Yeah, instead of sweating in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. Looking forward to that. But autumn does remind me of like the creeping sensation of time. Of everything is dying around me.
Well, let's just get this out of the way now. How do we feel about pumpkin spice products already being available?
I feel like people should
like
chase their
pumpkin
bliss,
spice.
I guess.
Yeah, it's not, and it's like I don't know why it's fucking seasonal. It's like peppermint things. Like
They can't get the pumpkins the rest of the year. Even though pumpkin spice is made from like 0.2%.
There's not even any fucking pumpkins in it. It's called like pumpkin spice because that's how you season pumpkins.
I think I'm one of those people that really like seasonal things because it's like
It's a little treat.
Yeah, exactly. It's a treat. It's a thing that you have once a year, and that way you never get sick of it. And like I'll only drink eggnog in December, or like
I'll never drink an eggnog.
Well, that's
no, me
okay,
neither.
That's fine. But
fucking eggnog,
like pumpkin spice, or even like Christmas flavored things, whatever that entails.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's nice to. I think it like connects you to like the nostalgia of that season. Does that make any sense?
It's very poetic.
Thank you.
It doesn't have to.
Yeah, I guess I like to buck tradition. I'm the type of person who I drink iced, cold, freezing drinks, like even in the winter, just because I like it. And
I do that sometimes too. I get it.
I do like a spicy pumpkin, but I do feel like they're trying to pull a fast one on me, the brands, by releasing it like last week of August, because like I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but it is 92 degrees where I am, and it feels a lot hotter, and I can't fathom drinking any hot drink, let alone a pumpkin flavored one.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I don't love the holiday creep.
No, it gets like sooner and sooner each year, and like I said, encroaching death. But
we are all pumpkin spice in the wind.
Yeah, and like I've said this before. Right now, it's actually kind of there's been a cold snap in the
Same
UK,
here.
so I don't really care. I'm like, okay, it's autumn now because it's cold.
Well,
speaking of the creeping approach of death,
I was gonna say,
I segued so good, and you guys got distracted.
Oh, you did? What did you say?
I was saying, well, the encroaching death. And then you're like, actually, I really like pumpkin spice lattes.
I'm very vapid.
Well,
I'm
our
just a regular
listeners are on
girl.
pins and needles to hear us say the words John McCain.
Our listeners are on pins and needles waiting for me to mispronounce this. Only get one chance.
I'm too excited.
You flash back to the 2008 election.
All right, let's clear the air right now. Yeah. Okay. Yes, in 2008, I did vote for John McCain in the presidential election versus Barack Obama. But to be fair, I didn't. I was a privileged. I didn't know. Okay, there's really no excuse.
You probably just voted for whoever your parents have told you to vote for.
Literally, I thought I was I did my own research. Like, I care about politics myself. Because I would and now everyone's gonna hate me after this, but I actually listened to Rush Limbaugh and like Sean Hannity, and like their 3-hour radio
For
shows.
research.
Yeah, for
3 hours.
Well, I wouldn't listen to all 3 hours, but but I mean, it's because they just say the same thing over and over and over again. But actually,
my very liberal mom listens to Rush Limbaugh just to get mad on purpose.
That's a great idea.
I do a lot of like reading dumb shit to make myself mad online, but I cannot imagine like doing it for that length of time.
He's
like,
on another level.
Yeah, it's unfathomable to me. I don't know how she does it.
I remember a point where even my conservative parents were like, "All right, he's getting too."
Yeah, I'm sort of. I was listening to you guys talking and realized I was thinking of Glenn Beck when you were talking about Rush Limbaugh.
Oh,
I mean, they were grown in the same lab. So.
Yeah,
yeah. So I sort of vaguely know what you're talking about. Also, yeah, I was like 10.
and in the UK.
I wasn't really like paying attention to the media circus.
It really was just because he was the Republican. Like, I didn't know anything about him. In fact, I specifically remember Rush Limbaugh, like, kind of, like, making fun of him and yelling about how John McCain, like, sarcastically calling him the Maverick. Like, Republicans actually do kind of hate him because, like, one
because of that
out of
0.2% of the time
exactly.
that he votes against
yeah,
the
this
party.
is, like, the wildest thing to me because, okay, so I sort of knew who John McCain was. I obviously don't have the same context as if I were an American. But I was like, why is everyone calling him a maverick and a hero? And it is just because he sort of flip-flopped on occasion.
Yeah, like very occasionally.
He gave a lot of lip service, but when the time came, he never actually really did much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like every once in a great while, he would actually vote against the party, but most of the time it was just saying, like, in his very dweeby voice, like, well, I don't think it's right that we're doing this, but I'm going to vote for it anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, he was still like... he was still racist.
Oh, extremely.
Oh, extremely.
Yeah.
The man hated Asian people.
He hated them. Didn't he say something like, Obama's not an Arab, he's a good man?
Oh my god, yeah. Everybody was like talking about like, this is the moment for me. Like, it was like going around like, this is the moment for me that really showed how John McCain was like a truly upstanding person. At a debate, somebody called Obama an Arab, and he said, no, he is not an Arab. He's a good man and a family man. And everybody's like, isn't that so great? And it's like, no correlation.
There's like very much a reason why that woman felt comfortable saying that at his rally, because of like all the things that he'd been going around and saying and constantly like telling people that Obama had connections to like Islamic terrorists basically, and
running with Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Well,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
like the fucking Republican like bread and butter is going. It's like dog whistles essentially. Saying something horrible and then going, no, I didn't say that. Why would I say that? That's so mean.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm hurt. I'm gonna leave.
Sarah Palin,
I don't know.
Also, by the way, she paved the road for Trump, like,
100%
brick by brick.
Because she showed that even dumbasses with like no real qualifications can rise to the office of like president.
Yeah, exactly. And just like outright liars.
Yeah, like I saw I don't remember who said it, but another thing that somebody was talking about, like how great John McCain was, and it was like I was at dinner with John McCain and his wife at a fancy DC restaurant, and I said something about Sarah Palin. I don't remember what it was, but it was probably snarky, and he pounded his fists on the table and like threatened to turn like red and threatened to leave multiple times and shouted, and they were like, it just goes to show how loyal and like chivalrous John McCain. Like, no, it fucking doesn't.
Do you know what women love? God. And it's aggressive men.
Yeah. Well, it was Anna Navarro who said this about him. It was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Is she the one whose like dad supported the was it the Contras?
Maybe. There's too many characters going on in this story.
I just remember that it's like It's like, you know how like every time Joe Walsh posts something, everybody's like, hey, pay your child support. I feel like she's the one that, like, anytime she posts something, it's like, hey, remember when your dad funded the Contras? I could be wrong. Not a libel, just a vague recollection.
Yeah, just a
query. But like with Sarah Palin, it's like, I remember I worked it out because I'm -10 from my own age, and worked out I was actually 12. And even as a 12-year-old little girl in a different country, I was like, Sarah Palin's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
She like she was just like a walking soundboard of like dumb shit. And like I remember I was listening to the Vox Media podcast Today Explained, and they honestly gave like a relatively fawning obituary of McCain. It kind of sucked.
Of course.
But one of the things that they talked about was Sarah Palin, and they included a clip of a reporter asking her what newspaper she read, and she just kind of replied like, all of them, all of them. and then the reporter pressed and was like, could you name one? And she was like, all of them, all the newspapers, I read them all. And like asked a third time, like, I'm asking for one specific newspaper, and she basically said like, I love to read the media, and I have many trusted sources in the press. And that was the kind of person she was.
I think that sums her up perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, people still, like, quote that, I can see Alaska from my house.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
Which
she
is
wasn't
like...
Alaska. No, she can see Russia from her house.
Yeah, that was it. And it's like, that's like a silly thing to say, but it wasn't like as outright stupid as a lot of the other dumb shit she says.
No, but
the context in which she said it was very stupid.
She
like,
was
I'm very good
stupid
at foreign policy because I can see Russia sometimes.
Which
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah, she can though. Hey, did Sarah Palin die?
God.
Do we go? She got us again.
I
So
don't
John
know what
McCain
she's
is
doing.
John McCain is actually the one that died.
I mean, yeah, we're not
Let's-
here to make, like, cancer jokes because what he had was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
I think the thing that is sticking with a lot of people is he is, or did, and his family deny the same healthcare that he got to millions of people that have died from this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like that's so fucking evil.
Oh, it's extremely evil.
Like, I know we say this a lot. We know we talk about evil people a lot. I cannot comprehend...
Yeah, our theme song, Evil People.
Evil men. I know, we're really excluding evil women. Like, women can be evil too. It's 2018. I'm with her.
Game of Thrones.
But I can't imagine doing that. Speaking of evil women, his daughter is evil.
That's very
Oh my
true.
god. Did we talk on the show about how she like had like a conniption when somebody like told her socialism might be good?
Yeah,
or
we
whatever?
talked about that a few episodes back.
Good.
And yeah, people are like, oh, she should just get John McCain's spot in the Senate.
Yeah.
That's
like,
Oh, America's
We
got a
live-
monarchy now. That's sexy.
we live in a monarchy.
Was that your Joker voice?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Thank you. More where that came from. I think the thing that sticks in a lot of people's minds in like recent history is John McCain's big famous Maverick move of giving
Crashing his plane.
Crashing this plane. 2 in a row, baby.
Was that your Bane voice?
Yeah, that was my Bane voice. With no survivors. His other big famous move in recent history of giving the famous thumbs down on the floor of the Senate to block the repeal of Obamacare, and that it really does kind of sum up his entire like political legacy. There's a lot of talk about like how the reason that the media fawned over John McCain and that they gave him this kind of like maverick persona that they assigned to him and they kind of revered him was because he loved to give the media access.
Yeah.
And like apparently he basically told like the media, like watch the show, like when
Yeah.
the vote happened.
Jesus Christ.
Like that's like a direct quote.
It's
or
not a
close
show.
to
It's it's like millions of people's lives. It's
right.
Yeah.
And
Fuck off.
remember, the vote to repeal Obamacare only happened because he pushed for the vote.
Yeah. And like if he had been like the second person to vote, then no one would have been like, "Oh, John McCain is the reason why we."
But instead,
whatever.
they wheeled him out on like the crucifix and like
Exactly.
and rotated it so that he gave a thumbs down.
I mean, this literally sounds like this is reality television. Like this happened on the last series of Big Brother.
It did.
Like, I mean, pretty much.
I don't know a lot about Big Brother, but I didn't imagine that it had much overlap with C-SPAN.
Well, Big Brother's really kind of a microcosm of, U.S. politics, I would say.
Yeah, it's a bunch of like egomaniacs in a room together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and they
that's
all
the Senate.
wanna fuck, but they can't because there's nowhere to do it.
Just like the Senate.
Just like the Senate.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual tension in the Senate, I've noticed.
I've known hours of watching C-SPAN.
When you think about it, C-SPAN is the real like reality TV.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my
Dude.
god, this is fucking woke. Like,
We live in a society.
Finally, someone says it. We really do.
we do.
If you think about it. Do we have any other like John McCain funny moments that we want to talk about?
I don't know about funny moments, but
should we list off his horrible
yes,
crimes?
Exactly.
Ooh, let me pop that post.
I'm gonna pop this post up. That someone. I'm a giant turtle on Tumblr. Put this together, so thank you to this person.
Which is very impressive because they're a giant turtle.
It took a
How did they
long time.
type? They haven't got fingers.
They just
Very
use their,
big keyboard.
yeah, and they use their little lips. They just stretch their neck
Their little
out
lips?
and just like they're
Mwah.
They kiss each key.
gently kissing each key of John McCain's war crimes.
A kisseroo from me to you. All right, Josh, you gonna read some of these greatest hits?
Yeah, so first off, John McCain's story really started with him violating the Geneva Convention by bombing a light bulb factory in Vietnam. And this, people will say he was just following orders, and yeah, but also you're violating the Geneva Convention and killing, I can't remember how many it was, but I think
it was like 1,000 people or more.
Thousands of civilians.
Yeah, wasn't there a whole trial where they sort of debated whether following orders was justifiable in
I
war
can't remember.
crimes?
Was there?
Nuremberg?
Number Wang?
That's it. So during this, when this happened, his plane got damaged and he ejected, immediately shattering his arms.
Yeah. and then crashed into a lake, I think.
Yep, and then fell into a lake, and
got tangled up in his parachute.
Yeah, and also his arms are broken, so it's a little bit hard to do much. And the only reason he survived is because a worker at the light bulb factory who was heading into a tunnel to escape the bombs saw him out there and went out and saved him with a long bamboo pole. That's the only reason he's even alive, is because one of the people that he was trying to murder ended up saving his life.
Right, and when he got pulled out of the water, all of the other people from the nearby area, including, I guess, some from the factory that he just bombed, decided, oh, look, an American soldier, let's, kick the shit out of him. Rightfully so.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so they were kicking his ass, and, both of his, arms were broken, and he had nearly just drowned, so he couldn't really defend himself. But this other, the guy who saved his life, also sort of fended off these other people, and allowed him to receive medical treatment. I think he was treated in the village near where he crashed, and then was taken into custody, and that's when he became a POW.
Yeah, so tell me how he's a war hero. What part of that story did he do anything that deserves him being called a war hero?
Tell me how your granddad stepping on a landmine saved this country.
Yeah. It's the one thing to his credit is not even really to his credit, because it's still supporting the US military, but apparently he did not crack under torture, really. for a very long time.
Cool.
And he apparently refused to be released until his fellow soldiers that were also POWs were to be released. But it's still like cool story, still imperialism.
Like, yeah, like it still happens because you were murdering thousands of civilians.
Right, like, I can't imagine ever having, like, the strength of character to be like, hello, please keep torturing me until, like, my friends can also go free. But also, like, ideally in this situation, I wouldn't be in the U.S. military conducting an illegal war, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought he was, like, old enough that he was in World War II.
I mean, he definitely looks and sounds like it.
Yeah.
He's been an old man his whole life. You ever listen to like clips of him like talking? He's always sounded like a little like shrunken like dweeb. I'm just saying. I mean, Grant, he probably could have kicked my ass even like when he was like in his like 50s, but like still, he just sounds like you could shove him in a locker.
Hey, speaking of which. So then, you know, he's a war hero, which we all recognize and agree with. And then he did go ahead and call Vietnamese people a racial slur and said that he would hate them until the day he dies.
And he did.
So I guess he doesn't hate them anymore.
No, he's in hell. He's too busy.
Exactly.
It also says here that he supported legislation for forcefully relocating Native American people. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude, John McCain, he was like a full-on diet white supremacist, and every single thing I hear about him backs that up. And to see people like, he was a war hero and a true maverick, and it's like, no, he did everything you would expect him to do.
Literally everybody who talks about him is like, well, love him or hate him, you can't deny that nobody has shaped the face of him. Like that kind of like centrist, like I'm not really saying anything bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that was what the episode of Today Explained was like. It was completely like, some people love him, some people hate him, but you can't deny that he has a legacy of being very influential. It's like, I don't give a fuck.
He's not Marmite.
Also,
he's a war
like,
criminal.
Say something. Like, take a stance. The whole thing was just them interviewing, like, I don't know, he was like
asking a centrist to take a stance is like asking a fish to breathe out of water. It's not gonna happen because they can't.
You know what's wild though is like after becoming like a politician, literally like one of the first like big things to happen to John McCain was a scandal where he basically it was a huge financial scandal. He helped the Lincoln Savings and Loan Association basically cheat a bunch of taxpayers out of, I think the sum total was millions of dollars, just like from their life savings, essentially.
Yeah.
But with bogus bonds, I think it was. And basically was like, well, I fucked up, but like, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, like it just doesn't. I don't know how it doesn't matter. So much of this stuff doesn't matter to people. Like the slur, the scandal, like all of it's like, well, he was a prisoner of war. He's a war hero. What can you do?
And it's like, what about all the other prisoners of war?
Exactly.
Who?
Where? Hey, remember when he also sang "Bomb, Bomb, Bomb Iran" to the tune of Barbara Ann?
Yeah, it's funny.
It's very.
It's
funny.
I remember watching that on like racist Flash cartoon sites when I was like 10 years old.
Well, love or hate him, we both love the Beach Boys.
You're so right. Love him or hate him. There was a song called Barbara Ann, and it sucks. There is one thing that we definitely need to mention because of the podcast that we're on, which was that people were protesting Henry Kissinger. And he said, like, he was like, "Get out of here, low-life scum, or I'll have you arrested." That's how he said it. He always fucking sounds like that.
He does. He sounds like an old man, like, just sitting on his lawn, yelling at people.
Low-life scum, stop peeing on my hydrangeas.
Wait, what's that? What's that film with Clint Eastwood?
Gran Torino?
Yeah, that's him.
That is extremely true.
Because the guy in Gran Torino is also racist.
Yeah.
Very.
I've never actually seen Gran Torino, but
Oh, he
no, it literally.
hate-
Yeah.
he's just an old racist old man.
Yeah.
isn't it like basically just like a white supremacist power fantasy, that movie?
I think so.
It's
Well, it's a
basic.
Clint Eastwood film, so yeah.
Yeah, it's about an old
Yeah.
man who's extremely racist, but then he meets like a young Hispanic guy,
The model minority.
literally, and then he becomes slightly less racist,
But still pretty racist.
Yep, exactly. And
Yeah.
and then he takes down a gang by dying, by getting shot like 75 times.
Gang resigned. I don't know if we actually got to this because we were talking a lot about how John McCain's life got saved, but then he wouldn't even acknowledge the dude who saved his life years later.
Yeah.
That was a big one, just kind of being like a real class act. He eventually gave the guy, because like this guy saving John McCain's life was the defining moment of this dude's life. It seemed like
Yeah.
he treasured that moment above all else, which good for him. I mean, he did very much save somebody's life. I don't think I can't blame him for not exercising perfect political praxis.
No,
but
I can't be like, oh, you should have let him die, because
yeah.
you don't know what you'd do if you saw someone who was drowning in a lake.
Yeah, not unless you're on What Would You Do?
That's true.
I haven't seen that up, but
What?
where they have just someone drowning in a lake.
Oh,
and then...
yeah. It's
And
John
then, like-
Quinones.
I was gonna say, and then Phil Collins is there.
Was Phil? Oh fuck! It took me a second. And then he wrote a song about it. And that song was called Barbara Ann. But yeah, John McCain like snubbed this dude for basically his whole life. He would write to John McCain's office and be like, "Hey, I'm the guy who saved your life. Would be great to talk to you sometime." And the office of John McCain was basically like, yeah, like Senator McCain doesn't have time for this like nonsense, and you're probably lying, because apparently there was a small cottage industry of pretending to be the dude that saved John McCain's life in this area in Vietnam.
Jesus Christ.
So eventually they did meet, and he spoke to John McCain at length about the experience of like having to save his life, and John was like, great to meet you, and gave him like a little Senate trinket that was worth nothing. And the dude apparently like until the day he died like was like, don't sell that, like one day like it might bring like something good to this family.
Oh
which,
boy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how I would feel if someone saved my life. Like, I feel like crying every time someone is nice to me. And he's just like,
It's okay. Great, good for you, buddy.
he didn't, not even like, oh, sorry, I tried to fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially the circumstances this guy saved. Yeah, he was headed into the tunnel, like, into safety, and decided, no, I'm gonna run back out into, like, open air that's being bombed, just to risk this enemy soldier who was seconds ago dropping the same bombs on me. Like, yeah, if anyone's a war hero, it's this guy. Even if he did accidentally save one of the worst people on Earth.
Well, he didn't know that.
No, he didn't know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, at the time.
It's not like you travel back in time and you're like, save John McCain or kill him, and what will the butterfly effect be?
All right, well, I just want to wrap up by saying John McCain, there was never a war that he met that he didn't support, and he can
loved
fuck
to
off.
do it.
And honestly, I'm glad he's dead. I'm not afraid to say that. Oh my god! I just remembered. Fucking. You know who's not so glad that he's dead?
Who?
Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer.
Oh.
Who wants?
How's Charlie doing?
He's in grief apparently because he wants to rename.
He's in mourning. He's got like a black veil.
He's standing like next to the tomb, and that song from Amadeus is playing. Like, you know the one.
Yeah, he is just walking around crying and saluting at all times.
Christ.
Like at the end of Metal Gear Solid.
I was gonna say like in that meme, he's saluting and screaming.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good meme.
Semper funny.
But Schumer wants to rename the Senate office building after McCain.
The whole Senate office building?
Yeah.
My God. Okay. What did you fucking do?
Why?
He wasn't that great.
He's dead. He's not gonna know, dude.
And to...
Maybe he's haunting the building.
This is the only way to appease him. His angry ghost. So in order to get this deal through, Schumer got a verbal agreement from Bitch McConnell to fast track the nomination of I think it was 11 federal court nominees, 7 of which were Trump picks.
Yeah,
and they all serve for life.
For life.
Lovely.
In exchange for fucking nothing. For a verbal promise from Chuck Schumer. He didn't even seem that, or from Bitch McConnell. He didn't even seem that into it. He was like, well, these are usually handled in a bipartisan manner. And like, which basically means like, I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna let you think that I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. But, I mean, how many times do they have to pull that football out from underneath them?
Are we gonna move on from John McCain?
Yeah, it's definitely time to move on from John McCain. Just like he has moved on from
the mortal plane.
The mortal
this
coil.
mortal coil. Good night, sweet prince.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's kismet that Josh and I are both on this episode when we had to talk about John McCain and Cynthia Nixon, respectively.
Wait. Can I mention one more thing about John McCain before we move on?
Yes.
Remember how the fucking White House, like, flew their flags at full mast just because they're all fucking petty? God, that's so good. That's so good. I love having our normal president.
That picture, yet another picture of Trump just sitting there frowning with his arms crossed and just looking mad. That, like, someone asked him to say anything nice about John McCain at all.
Yeah, he was like a toddler.
Welcome to the resistance, Mr. Trump.
That video you posted
Oh my God.
I've been so mad about it. I'm so mad.
Hang on. Wait, which video? Are you talking about the one from Conan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who wants to describe the contents of this video?
Oh, I'm so mad.
All right.
Okay, so like, I'll do it. So Conan's, it's like an old video. I think it's, it's from pre-President Trump.
From like the Apprentice era, I think.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, we did a skit with Donald Trump and we asked him to pour himself a glass of water at the beginning. And it cuts to the clip and he's sitting at a table and there's like
in a fucking jail cell, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like an interrogation table.
In the fucking pits of hell. And he has like a water jug and then he has a glass next to it. And he picks up the water jug and pours it into the water glass. Everything's fine. And then he fucking, like, pours it like it's holy water. Like, he's fucking, that guy from Mad Max. And he's, like, opening the water and letting all the poor people drink it and then closing it. Like...
He fucking does a line of water. He pours it in a straight line across the desk, back and forth.
Like a bartender, like, filling up shot glasses.
Yeah. And then he puts it down and he's like, didn't expect that, did you?
He's just like, what? Wasn't that, did you like that? Wasn't that good? Was that funny? He liked that,
like,
right?
He's like, you didn't like it? You didn't like it? And they were like, oh, we'll keep it for, like, an alternate. And he's like, didn't expect that, did you?
Like, no!
Like, yeah, no.
It doesn't make it... He's so pleased with himself, too. He thinks it's so fucking funny.
He thinks he, like, completely outfoxed them.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Have you ever, like, seen a baby when, it's just shat itself and it smiles at you? Like, that's what his face reminds me of every single time.
It's so true.
It makes me so mad.
Like,
I'm like, I just do not think he's a human being. Like, this is what he thinks is funny.
My favorite thing about it is that he, after the clip ends, Conan is just kind of staring into the camera like, well, what can you do?
And it's like, I feel sorry for, like, I don't know, everyone on set. Someone had to clean up that water after and just had to awkwardly, like, paper towel it.
Exactly.
And you know he wouldn't like get up to like give them room or anything.
No,
he would just stare at them. And
well, he would also wonder why they even need to do that in the first place. Like, he got the perfect take.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess a funny thing, funny would be
funny.
He like funny, really funny. But like, if he poured it into the glass and just kept pouring it, and as it like spilled out and looked into the camera, that would be like an attempt, you know?
Yeah, that's heading in the direction.
Or if you like drank it stupid, like I don't know.
Or pour it back into the jug. Like, pour it into the glass and pour it back in. Ooh.
Kind of the opposite of what you'd think.
We are now going to talk about the New York gubernatorial primary debate between...
Yes.
The fated debate for this fated episode.
We have the Cynthia Nixon expert on the podcast today.
Give her a round of applause, folks.
Thank you.
Now, what are your thoughts on this historic moment?
Well, this was... I mean, I think she was good because she had to talk to a brick wall.
Yeah.
Like, the whole... I don't know, I really struggle to actually care about debates just because I always find them to be very childish.
They
like,
really are.
Yeah, it's not, here are my thoughts on this issue and how it can be solved. Okay, cool. Here are my thoughts. It's just, and it was Kumo basically saying, just making up bullshit the entire time. And there's not really any way you can defend yourself when someone is just lying.
No, yeah, because this is the same thing that Hillary, R.I.P., struggled with during the debates. It's like, you can't like fact check someone in real time. The most you can say is like, no, that's not true. And then it's up to the viewer to like decide in that moment.
And you can't like prove a negative.
Exactly. Yeah.
No. Well, because there was like that whole thing where he was saying like, you called in a personal favor to the mayor and made it sound like she doesn't really seedy.
He called her a corporation like 3 different times.
Yeah.
because she registered as an LLC because like I guess that's a kind of normal thing for like a famous person who gets money in weird ways.
Yeah.
Like
because like when you're an actor, I don't 100% know how it works in the States, but you register yourself like as a company because you are self-employed.
Yeah, like my friends who are like even just freelance photographers have a registered company. Like it's a normal
right, well they're corporations.
Yeah, they're corporations that make like $40K a year.
Yeah, great.
So it's not exactly it doesn't mean anything.
Fucking Cuomo is like you're a corporation and she's like I'm not a corporation and he's like but you donated money as a corporation. Like it's just like what?
Exactly.
He never explains why he's saying it either. Like, it's one of
he's
those
like
things...
a little baby man. He's like throwing his toys out the pram.
And what was he giving her all this grief over? This favor that she called in from the mayor?
God.
So she said, hey, mayor, you mind if you can like stop helicopters from going over Shakespeare in the Park? Because it's like a free service and... You know, it might be nice if people can hear Shakespeare.
Yeah, literally, that's it.
It's like literally, yeah. Like,
and he didn't back down when she said this. He was like for your friends.
Yeah, the friends. She was like, no, the people of New York.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like for anyone who doesn't know what Shakespeare in the Park is, it's like, you know, the quite famous actors perform in Central Park and they perform Shakespeare. I think it's every year. And everyone can go. So it's obviously really great for people who don't get to go to the theatre because theatre is fucking way too expensive. And if there's helicopters flying over, then people can't hear. And if you're fucking, you know, rows back, then you need to be able to hear what's going on.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like,
and I guess you can make like claims of like, oh, you know, maybe famous people or rich people shouldn't have direct lines to like mayoral offices, but he really turned this into like she was doing something really seedy and clandestine.
Yeah.
The moderator of the debate, I think, also asked Cynthia Nixon and not Cuomo, for whatever reason, if she would be willing to forgo the governor's salary.
Yeah.
If she won, and she said yes. And I saw an interesting point about this earlier that was like, actually, this is like a bad thing that this is like an expectation, because basically it's saying like, oh, once you set the expectation that nobody should take the governor's salary, it gets to a point where the only people who can attain the office of governor or any political office are the ones who can afford to not take a salary doing so.
Yeah, which is really stupid.
Yeah.
And especially when, like, the reasoning for asking this question is like, well, you're a democratic socialist. It's like, that's not what democratic socialism doesn't mean. Oh, everyone should work without getting paid. Like, what? That's the opposite of
right.
What?
I mean,
I think
yeah.
part of the idea was like, oh, you're already like wealthy, which, you know, but
she is. At least she's admitting that. She's
Right.
not pretending like she's not.
Yeah.
It's not like the governor's salary is like particularly opulent. Like, I don't think it is. I think it's like a very modest salary.
Yeah.
Like almost like a token thing. Maybe not a token thing, but it's still like low.
I get, like, she, you know, when you're in that debate and, like, someone's asking you that question for the first time and, like, you just have to respond however makes you sound best.
Yeah.
I totally get that response, but also I totally agree that she should, if possible, take back that idea.
Oh
Take
my
it
God.
back.
Take it back, Cynthia.
Take it back now, y'all. One hot this time. There was one fun Andrew Cuomo funny moment where he said, my opponent is upset with the Koch brothers because they're the only ones who take more corporate money than she does. And the debate recap that I was reading said, a zinger that made little sense when aimed at Nixon, and then in parentheses, the governor has amassed one of the largest re-election funds in state history, in part with the support of business PACs that favor his policies. So,
yeah.
Pot kettle.
remember when Cuomo said that he was a undocumented immigrant?
Huh?
What?
Not at this. Did you guys not hear about this?
No?
No.
He like tried to say like he tried to do solidarity, but he did it wrong. And he said I am undocumented because he's descended from immigrants, which isn't what that means.
No.
No.
That's not how that works.
Let me see if I can find the exact quote. Hang on one second.
Well, this is like when he tried to be like a leftist by saying America was never really that great. And then
he was right.
I mean, he was right, and then he took it back. He was like, actually, America's always been great. Oh, okay.
Please vote for me. Please.
Cool.
So he said, okay. I admittedly I am reading this from Fox News because it was the first result, but it's using quotes. So New York Governor Andrew Cuomo raised eyebrows last week after he claimed that he was an illegal immigrant and taunted officials to deport him. Quote, I'm undocumented. You want to deport an undocumented person? Start with me because I'm an undocumented person.
But I get it. But when you are so removed from your immigrant past, and when you are not the people that are being fucking separated and deported and brutalized, it's like not the same thing.
Yeah, not at all.
But is it though?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person, I think Cynthia Nixon has to go up against people who are like, does a celebrity need to be in politics? Because, you know, people aren't really feeling that wave anymore. And I feel like she has like that to fight against as well.
Yeah.
From everything I've read, though, I think her political stances are good.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a perfect person. I don't think anyone is.
No, she's not perfect,
like,
but she seems like infinitely better than Cuomo. Like,
she seems like she's running to like actually do like a social good and not just to like consolidate power for herself. Like this idea that like, well, if you're a famous person who's not quite doing the thing that you're famous for anymore, I guess you better run for office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get the idea that I think that is something that's in people's minds at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But from everything
Can't
I've
imagine
seen,
why.
don't know. I do really think that she's doing all of this because she does care. She wants to help people. Like, she wouldn't be speaking as passionately as she is if she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuomo did make sure to get kind of a jab in about, like, her being an actress and about, like, Sarah Jessica Parker and some things like that. I'm surprised he didn't say something more sexist.
She peddles fiction, not fact or something.
Yeah.
Why didn't he, like, bring up a really good scene from Sex and the City?
Because he's never watched it.
There's no way he's ever watched it.
Come on,
Andrew Cuomo.
Come on, City Girls Mate 2. You're welcome. I would actually fucking hate to have him on. I would love to have Cynthia Nixon on, though.
You know that he, like, doesn't know how to have fun. Like, you just know.
Yeah, Stephanie and I are like, oh, this episode is really good. The girls went shopping, and he's like, actually,
I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't fucking get it, you know.
Oh, these clothes were ugly.
Yeah.
Who do you think would make a better candidate, Cynthia Nixon or Miranda?
I feel like Cynthia Nixon. We did have a question where we did figure out, I think, all the girls' political leanings.
This sounds good. I'll get there eventually. For anyone who doesn't know who's
know.
listening, we're talking about City Girls Make Do. Alex is Sex and the City podcast.
Yeah, when are we starting to include commercials for the other podcasts on the network?
Done. Right now.
When are we just going to start scatting?
Scoobity-bop-ba, scoobity-doo-doo, doobity-bop-ba-ba-doo.
Oh, fuck this guy.
Yeah,
this
fuck
guy.
me. We have to mention it.
People
once
can
per
just like
episode.
make ads whenever if they want to.
Matt, what are you doing?
Interrupting.
We're recording the podcast.
It's fine.
God.
God?
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
People can record whenever they want to.
That was the god of noise space, Matt. But yeah, let's wrap up Cynthia.
She's
Yeah.
a really cool dancer.
True.
A really cool dancer?
What? Cynthia, she's a really cool dancer. Cynthia, boogie to the groove now. It's a Rugrats.
No.
Rugrats.
Rugrats. I don't. That show
okay.
ended like 50 years ago, so I haven't.
Yeah, you're right. So this is what we're doing. We're just lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on. Guess who's back? Back again.
Back again.
Louis fucking C.K.
Yo, speaking of fuck this guy.
Oh my god, really fuck this guy.
Okay.
God, he went to do like a surprise set at a comedy club, and because he's like the fucking king of self-awareness, he came out and one of his jokes involved the phrase rape whistle.
Of course.
There's an article out about how all of the women there were just like aghast, like,
Well, that was in the past, Zach. It's over now.
right, he served his time.
Mm-hmm.
Of nothing.
Yeah.
He got locked up in comedy jail, and
Did you see the fucking thing where like who was it? Was it Michael Ian?
it was
Black or
Michael
something?
Ian Black.
Wait, wasn't he the one who also defended the fact that he's like best friends with Meghan McCain?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Oh, weird. He was like, I know I'm gonna get heat for this, but I think that it's okay that McCain returned to comedy. He served his time, and like now he's
McCain.
did I say McCain?
Yeah.
He served his time in hell, and he's ready to come back.
John McCain is going to show up at the Comedy
served
Cellar in 1 week.
He served his time, and he's ready to pursue his passion of stand-up comedy. But yeah, I think it's fine that Louis C.K. comes back to comedy. He served his time, and like everybody deserves like a second chance. Like he didn't like serving his time in this case just means not doing comedy actively for like 8 months. That's
Right,
it.
just
He
sitting
took,
around
like-
and being rich for 8 months. Man, that sucks.
He took a break. He does what I do every day, and probably like he ate some cereal and like played some video games for a couple of months. Like
Yeah.
he didn't do anything. I mean, the rumor going around. I don't know. If
The
this is
rumor
true.
come out.
Listen, today is about rumors. The tea is being built, everyone. No. But, like, what I've heard from people is that he, like, paid to perform.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, just another case of, you know, rich people just being able to get away with shit
God.
because they can pay it off.
I cannot fucking imagine, though, the level of, like, no self-awareness you would need to come back after being, like, accused of, like, being a sex pervert and be like, I'm gonna make my joke, like, rape adjacent.
Yeah, no, it's because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand why people were upset, really. He doesn't think he, like, deserved it. Like, I mean...
Remember what he actually fucking did, though? Like, because it's, like, it was, like, the standard, like, weird creepazoid shit of, like, somebody, like, doing sex stuff in front of you that you don't want to. But then also, like, the fact that he wouldn't let them leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, so many people have said, like, any other, you know, like, if this was, like...
He would have been charged with false imprisonment.
Yeah.
No, he's just a fucking sex criminal. And the thing, I think with every one of these cases, the thing that upsets me, I think the most, is not even that they did this. It's that everyone knew, and it had been, like, I think someone said, like, oh, there was a really famous comedian who did this to me, and everyone, oh, that's Louis C.K. Like, clearly. Like, from all the details in it, they clearly worked out it was him. And I would imagine in the comedy scene, there being whispers, because there's always a whisper train with this type of thing. I mean, I've had friends tell me, oh, stay away from that guy. Or, he's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know these things. And it's like, there's only so much you can do as a person. But when you're talking about hiring someone for a job and giving them movies, do you remember what he called that film he made?
I Love You, Daddy.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, you want, like, a silver lining to, like, something related to this, though?
Always.
So I saw a headline yesterday that apparently Woody Allen is, temporarily, like, stepping back from filmmaking. That's heavily, like, coded language for, like, nobody will work with him anymore.
Yeah, like...
It's a start.
It's a start. I wish people were more open about it, because...
I wish he would fucking die, but
yeah,
if he can
like,
not work
true.
anymore, that's better.
I just want his entire image as this, like, famed director, and isn't he an auteur? Isn't he a wonderful person? I want that to fucking shatter, and then I want him to die with everyone hating him.
Yeah, and, like, irrespective of all of this, like, his ratio of good movies to shit movies, like, isn't even good.
No, because he makes, like, fucking 2 a year.
Yeah,
so
and like,
you
they're
have
mostly
50-50
bad.
chance.
Like, that's barely
Yeah.
even exaggeration. I had heard rumors that Amazon was trying to figure out how to cut him loose, so, like, Amazon, welcome to the resistance, but...
He's not doing anything new. Like, Louis C.K., like, they're... Like, so many people can do exactly what Louis C.K. does. Like, we don't...
Be sad
we
and
don't
a little
need
funny?
them. Yeah. Like, be like...
That's us. That's literally every single host.
We are all balding.
Yeah.
Woody Allen was gonna make a TV show. Miley Cyrus was in it. Because his thing, specifically Woody Allen, which pisses me off, also with Roman Polanski, is they love making films which are about what they've done.
Yeah.
So you can't even deny it. Like, every
But you have to
Woody
separate
Allen
the art from the artist.
is like, oh, there's some ugly old man and some, like, young woman, and then Roman Polanski makes films with, like, young girls in it, and I'm like,
literally Woody Allen's last 2 movies were basically just like, look what I did. There was the one about the professor who starts a relationship with his young student. That was the one with Emma Stone, right?
Yeah. Wait, and then there was another one that had, like, Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Was
Just,
there?
Why?
I just
and
remember
Timothy.
the one with what do you call it? Justin Timberlake that came out. I think the Selena Gomez one isn't even out yet, but the one with Justin Timberlake, where a big part of it is, like, heavily like reminiscent of like the custody battle that he had with like Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
I just literally, who wants this? Who still cares?
Part of it is like, I think part of that is like literally like a dude like getting into a relationship with his stepdaughter. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Great.
And I don't know. I don't know who likes Woody Allen films. I've spoken to people who do. I just feel like it's like, you know, birds of a feather. It's like creepy guys.
I feel like it's one of those things that you like because you think you're supposed to like it.
Right.
Yeah, you think you're smart.
Like, oh yeah, Annie Hall. Yeah, no doubt, dude.
There's just
Totally.
so many movies out there. Who cares? God.
There are 1 million movies, maybe more.
But, I mean, I think that thing with Louis C.K. making the rape joke is it's like, these guys do not feel sorry for what they've done.
No.
They don't realize they've done something wrong. In fact, they think it's funny, or they think it's art.
Yeah.
Or they think it's important somehow. And it's like, no. I would much rather see art made by, I don't know, the victims of this.
Yeah.
And how they've dealt with that because of how, whatever scale it's on, it's always impactful. It's always something that's scary. And it's like, we should be giving voices to, you know, not criminals.
Mm.
But he is still kind of treated like a god. Like, I was reading an interview with the owner of the Comedy Cellar, who was at home, like, asleep when Louis C.K. went on, which, like, so he didn't even know what was happening, which I kind of thought, like, oh, maybe this absolves the, you know, Cellar of some responsibility. But then the owner was like, well, yeah, he just went up to the MC and, you know, what are you going to do? It's Louis C.K. You can't not let him go on.
Yeah, you fucking can.
Exactly. And he's like, well, we only got one person who complained about it who you know, didn't like being surprised by that. So, like,
yeah,
what? Who? Even if every person in the audience loved it, that's not the fucking point.
No.
So I think we need to start like preparing ourselves for like Aziz Ansari to like come back.
Aziz Ansari is already coming back. Like,
is he?
Netflix have greenlit the next series of Master of None.
So my question, like, I guess is like, should we have the same level of resistance to him coming back, given like the disparity of like what Louis C.K. did versus like what he did? Like, because I think like what Aziz Ansari did was definitely very like skeezy, like, and like very difficult to like read about. But I think a large part of that was like just sort of the amount of detail that we were given in the first place. Like, that made it difficult.
I think with everything, like, because I remember when the whole, like, Me Too thing broke out, and I think it was, like, Matt Damon, he was like, oh, well, everyone knows there's a difference between rape and, like, a tap on the arse or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, the victims of that know that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, I think every single woman I know has been in a situation where someone has at least touched them and it's made them uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we all know how widespread this is.
Right.
And even if someone's just had maybe an encounter that made them uncomfortable, had someone touched them that made them feel a little bit uneasy, but hasn't been fully assaulted, they know that that's not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all know this. And I think we know this in regards to Aziz Ansari too. Like, I don't think he is, like, the worst human being alive.
Mm-hmm.
I think what he did was very skeezy, and it's an example of how we let people, but specifically men, get away with this and pressure women into sex because, like, the fallout of this, I heard so many people talking and they were saying, like, bad sex for men. A lot of the time is like, maybe they just didn't come.
Mm-hmm.
And then for women, like,
sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but you said the like, funny word.
Come.
Yeah, that one.
But for women, it's sex they've been pressured into and has made them feel uncomfortable. And it's like, after 5 no's, you get a yes. Is it still a yes?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, like, I've had some conversations with, you know, friends who are all, like, very left-leaning, but definitely some of them, some of the women in my friend group do feel like, oh, what he did wasn't that bad. Like, I've had plenty of guys do pretty much that exact same thing to me. And like,
right.
I feel like as a cis man, it's not my place to really have a like big voice in this conversation.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna kind of let other people decide, what happens with Aziz's career. Like, I'm not gonna watch Master of None because I can't stomach. There's no reason to. Once again, there's so many TV shows.
It's really
out there.
It's like for this kind of like is something that I think kind of goes in both directions with regards to like, is what he did horrible or is it just like normal? Is that like something normal that like is very difficult to like read about? Was the amount of women who responded to that and said that like they had an experience that was very similar, like that this is like a very common, like an extreme example of a common occurrence.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's this thing, and it's like, to keep yourself sane, two things cannot exist at the same time, and that's one, that sexual assault, or any form of sexual like violence or uneasiness exists and is very common.
Mhm.
And is common amongst I'm not saying that only women are victims, obviously, but more prevalent amongst women, right? So you can't believe that it exists and it's widespread. And the other thing is, you can't believe that it's also horrible, because if you think to yourself, right, more or less every single woman I spoke to has had a situation that's made them very uncomfortable. And also that is really horrible and traumatic and impacts you even if you don't think about it. That's really scary. Like, that's a horrible thing to think, that, oh my God, the percentage of people who have been in some sort of, obviously it's like we said, it's varying in degrees, but have been in something like this. That's really scary, because then you have to confront yourself and go, oh my God, I was in something where I wanted to say no and didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I think about the Aziz Ansari thing. Because I've had people say, oh, no, it's fine, I've had a situation like that, it doesn't matter. And I'm like,
maybe it should.
Maybe it shouldn't happen. Maybe you should feel comfortable enough.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should care more.
Or maybe you
like
shouldn't be a dickhead.
Yeah.
And if someone says, actually, I want to go home, you go, okay, yeah, get home safe.
There are a lot of things that people like will put up with and say like, oh, this happens to me all the time, it's normal, that like are things that for many people are an instant deal breaker. So people have like different levels of like of like tolerance for all things, but I think there are some things where people are just like very desensitized to them, and like that's like like on a societal level. We live in a society.
We do. But it's like, if someone fucking like stole $1 from you like all the time, and you just went, whatever, it's fine, it's just it's $1, who cares? Like, if you actually thought about it, you'd probably be a bit annoyed about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not the biggest deal, but maybe feeling like, because I remember in the next episode of City Girls Might Do, like, we both made a joke about how we're both terrified of being murdered and think about how we're going to get murdered all the time. And it's like, wait a second, everyone doesn't think about that, do they? I'm not like, oh, I'm talking to this guy on Tinder, I hope he doesn't murder me. Oh, I'm walking down the street alone, I hope I don't get murdered. Oh, I'm going around this guy's house, if I say that I don't want to have sex with him, I hope he doesn't murder me. Like, I'm not going to tell anyone like what media to consume, what they can't, but it's just like, think about it.
Yeah. It feels weird like consuming like Aziz Ansari's like media now, because so much of like his personal brand was built around like being like the woman respecter. And like
yes.
Yeah.
Like it like not even like subtextually, like it was like the text. Like he wrote that big book about like modern romance, and like I thought that was a really good book. It was a very good piece of like serious sociological research that I think like exceeds expectations for like what you'd expect from like a comedy book ostensibly. But but then he had to go and like fuck it all up. And like his stand-up specials where he talks about like you know, like who here in the audience has received an unsolicited dick pic, like that's fucked up, right? And like, boy, I like can you believe that men would do that stuff? Just like his whole brand was built around it, and it just kind of poisoned everything in retrospect.
It's true.
Yeah. I definitely know guys who are like, I respect women, you fucking bitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, maybe let's knock this one out in like a second. So a lot of people think that single payer is like a pie in the sky like leftism desire, but it turns out that a slim but real majority of Republicans actually want single payer healthcare. Let me see. A new Reuters Ipsos poll, which found that 51.9% of Republicans would embrace a Medicare for all policy. This is from a poll of about 3,000 people, American adults.
Yeah, like, and honestly, this shouldn't be that surprising. Like, a lot of Republicans are human, believe it or not, just like the rest of us, and have like these insurmountable health costs. And like,
I thought they were lizards.
Some of them for sure, but not all.
Okay.
Only 49% of them are, and the other 51% want healthcare for all.
Healthcare for all, shed skinning, or skin shedding, or whatever. Fuck, I don't give a shit. Crickets. What do lizards like? Basking.
What do lizards like? Yeah. Oh yeah.
They love to bask.
Yeah,
sitting on hot rocks.
well, who doesn't like that?
That's true.
Yeah, it's good to sit on a hot rock. Don't you love when like you're watching like a pet do something and it just like goes and like plops down in a patch of sunlight?
Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
I love watching that.
Animals are very sweet.
So I think we basically said all there is to say about that.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good news.
Yeah. And here's some very bad news. So the United States is actually denying passports to Americans who live along the border, which effectively puts a big question mark on their citizenship. So yeah, they're refusing to recognize the citizenship of Hispanic people. This is a quote. I'm not sure if I should use that word. Born in Texas, because when the births were conducted by midwives, I think the time was between the 1950s and 90s. They said that there was like a big uptick in like fraudulent birth certificates because these births weren't conducted in a hospital.
Real quick, the thing about America that really threw me off is I found out that a lot of births are done by doctors instead of midwives.
Yeah.
And that there's also, funnily enough, a much higher child mortality and mother mortality rate.
Oh, yeah.
Weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, funny that.
Yeah,
strange.
Weird. But yeah, basically, so this is something that has been happening for a while in this country, but it was something that was happening during the Bush administration and during the Obama administration, where they were denying passports to people born in the Rio Grande Valley. But basically, the Obama administration received a lot of political pressure to ease off on that, and they did. But now it looks like the Trump administration is bringing it back in force. And I saw another article today that actually seems like maybe the situation is getting worse, because this is saying that the administration is revoking passports and deporting citizens now instead of just refusing to issue passports.
It's just
holy shit.
really buck wild.
Yeah.
It's beyond buck wild. It's fascist. Like, it's...
Yeah, it is.
I can believe it, but I don't want to. Like, it's... Imagine, you've lived here your entire life. You were born here, and you've lived here for like 40 years. And then just because you weren't born in a hospital and you're not white, like, they're saying you're not a citizen? It's how... And it is obviously, like, what can we do about it? I don't...
Yeah. This is like overt, like, fascism. Like, they're not even, like, pussyfooting around it.
No.
This is a quote from the article about the passwords being revoked and people being deported. So it says, a military veteran born in Texas who had been a Border Patrol agent was applying for a routine passport renewal, which, like, Border Patrol agent, huh? Well, go off. It says he received a letter from the State Department telling him that it wasn't convinced that he was a U.S. citizen. It requested a range of obscure documents, evidence of his mother's prenatal care, his baptismal certificate, rental agreements from when he was a baby. Managed to find some of those documents and submitted them, but weeks later received another denial. In a letter, the United States said the information, quote, did not establish your birth in the United States.
It's part of what's happening here is that the escalation of policies, like, it's continuing to move the goalpost of, like, what's normal, because if these people were white, this would be a much bigger story than it is. Like, I don't think this is a huge story right now. Hopefully it turns into one, but it's so many people read this and they're like, oh yeah, the Trump administration is being racist again. Like, that sucks, but what's new? You know?
Trump boys are at it again.
Yeah. And, like, it's so hard to, like... I mean, it's because it's exhausting. It's so hard to keep people, like, angry and, you know, like, energized about this stuff every single day. They're really just wearing us down. Yeah.
And the article about the passport denials is also mentioning that in some cases people are having their passports called into question when attempting to return from Mexico, which effectively leaves them stranded in Mexico.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This is horrific, and you're right. It's plain fascism, that's what it is.
Here's the thing, is, like, I think about this a lot, and I don't think it really matters that much, but I do think about it, is... Do you think Trump actually cares about, like, illegal immigrants? Or do you think this is, like... he's just a big fucking idiot and, like, people who are, like, smarter than him surrounding him care about it?
Well, that's the debate of, you know, our time. Like, I think he's... I don't know if he cares. I definitely think he hates people. I think he is a fascist. I don't know if he is laying up at night wringing his little hands about how much he hates these people. But I know he does hate them, and I know he doesn't care what happens to them.
Yeah. I honestly think he mostly cares about, like, what other people think of him, like his supporters. Like, he definitely is extremely racist on his own, but what he really cares about is, like, going to these rallies and getting people to cheer for him. So anything that he can do that builds that up, that's what he cares about.
Oh my god!
And the question's moot because this is happening. Like, it doesn't matter if he is a racist. Obviously, it doesn't matter how much he really cares, though, because this is still affecting people's lives.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a bunch of really good examples of Trump just doing shit just basically to get accolades for it, even though he didn't do anything. The episode from, I think, last night of Today Explained, Vox Media's podcast, the one that I previously mentioned as being the John McCain respecter, was talking about how basically they did a whole episode about how Trump routinely reaches into, like, the Trump Foundation's coffers as, like, a personal pocketbook, and also, like, to aid in his political campaign, both of which are, like, illegal things to do that he just does. And the two great examples that he gave, one of them was how Trump wanted to raise money for, I want to say it was, like, the VA or something. This is before he became president, and it was either, like, the VA or, like, a police foundation or something like that. I think it may have been a police union or a police foundation or something like that. So he reached out to the widow of, like, an elderly, like, former cop or something like that, and he was like, hey, I've been called upon to, like, help raise money for, like, this police foundation. Would you be willing to donate anything? And he, like, talked about the importance of, like, what this organization was doing for, like, I guess, like, current cops, former cops, I'm not really sure. This is in Florida, I think. And the widow gave him, I think it was, like, $400,000 or some ridiculous sum of money like that. And he took the money and then wrote like a big stupid check from the Donald J. Trump Foundation for exactly that amount of money. And they were like, oh my God, we've never gotten an amount of money like this big. And they like gave him like an enormous like crystal palm tree or something like that. And he like had not actually donated any of his own money.
Oh my God.
And like gave zero credit to the person that did.
Wow.
The other one is much funnier, which is literally just apparently one of the smallest donations that the Donald J. Trump Foundation ever made was a $7 donation to the Boy Scouts of America. And someone did some digging into this, and they found out that apparently the donation was made in the year that Donald Trump Jr. would have been of age to join the Boy Scouts, and their registration cost was at the time was $7. So he was like $7 and just like stuck his snoot into the tiller for the Donald J. Trump Foundation and pulled the money from there.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry for that.
Thank you.
Sorry for that tangent, but I loved that shit.
That's amazing. That's how you build an empire.
Yeah.
That's how you become rich. Just spend other people's money. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's very easy to like pretend that you give a shit about people if you just like take money from other people and you're just like, this is mine now, and also I'm giving it away and I'm very magnanimous.
Yeah. God. Okay, let's move on to some shout-outs.
Shout-outs.
First off, fuck the French Open for oh shit. I tried to do this rapid fire and now I'm blanking on names.
Serena Williams?
Yeah, Serena Williams. Sorry, all I could think was Selena Gomez.
She's such a talent.
Anyway, Serena Williams, very cool outfit, like her black bodysuit that was meant to prevent blood clots because she almost died during childbirth. And then they're like,
Yeah,
because the doctor didn't believe her.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Well, speaking of dying during childbirth, like, there's a disproportionate amount of black women who die during childbirth.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and this was specially designed for her because the fucking French Open, they're like, oh, you know, a white miniskirt, that's what you want to play tennis in.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So that we can look at those gams.
God. Also, just on principle, aesthetically, it was a very cool outfit. So
yeah,
that alone makes me upset.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, Elise Cornet, there was another player who, like, changed her top on the court and has been fined.
Okay.
She didn't even change her top. She, like, rotated her shirt around.
Yeah.
Like, the chairman of the French Open, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was basically like, you have to respect the sport, and I think in the case of the bodysuit, we may have taken it too far. Like, you know, like, fuck off.
Zach, these impressions.
There was a brief second where I was like, is he going to do the accent? And then he...
Yeah! Listen, we all have our gimmicks.
Spot on.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's not a gimmick, it's a
like...
talent from God.
Oh, thank you.
Is this SNL?
Hey, I could do a mean, bad Trump. Oh my god, wait, we didn't include this as a shout out and it already like came and went, but holy shit. So there was a headline yesterday about how remember how they're making like 3 Joker movies or something? Mm-hmm. In one of them, Alec Baldwin was going to be playing the part of Thomas Wayne, and Batman's dad, and he was going to be doing it as like playing him as like a cheesy 80s businessman with like a bad tan, and immediately everybody's like, he's gonna do the fucking Trump impression, isn't he? And it doesn't even make sense because literally the only thing about Thomas Wayne is that he was like a good guy that died.
Exactly.
That was it. He was like, he put money into the community. That's his whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
God.
Did we skip?
Then he resigned. Though.
Yeah, and then he resigned like the next day.
Yeah.
Did we talk about the Israeli Prime Minister?
No, that's important.
Yeah, so the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu, I don't know why people call him that, but I don't like it. Attended some renaming ceremony for a nuclear research center, blah blah blah. And he was giving a speech. And the official PM of Israel Twitter account was recounting the speech, and in one of the tweets included, I don't know if this is a quote or a paraphrasing, but The weak crumble, are slaughtered, and are erased from history, while the strong, for good or ill, survive. The strong are respected, and alliances are made with the strong, and in the end, peace is made with the strong. Kind of a normal one, huh?
Oh my god. This is literally like a villain's like end of the movie speech. Like,
yeah,
are slaughtered and erased from history.
Ugh.
While the strong, for good or ill, survive. Like, at least he's recognizing that it might not be good.
Yeah, like, hey, like, don't blame me. It's the way the world works.
Yeah.
This sounds like somebody pointed this out, that it sounds like something that Loki would have said in the first Avengers movie.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, he's cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, he was like directly invoking Hitler in that movie in some parts. So just saying. I hate to compare like Israelis or like the Israeli prime minister to Hitler, because I think that it's like kind of out of the white supremacist playbooks. But I mean,
if anyone can do it, it's you.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
Like, we ain't saying nothing.
I'm insulated from all critique. But yeah, it's just kind of like a little on the nose there, bud.
Yeah.
And I mean, the rest of this speech was also like because the tweet immediately preceding this one says, in the Middle East and in many parts of the world, there is a simple truth: there is no place for the weak.
Like,
oh my god!
Come
on. True peace can be achieved only if our hands grasped defensive weaponry. Remember, this is at a Center for Nuclear Research.
Oh boy, we're really fucked. Just like as a world.
This world is very bad. Hey, whatever. Remember how like it came out that like Netanyahu was embroiled in a massive corruption scandal where he was paying off people and nothing fucking happened.
Do we have time for questions or Lightbringers? Like, do we
I think that we can sneak a couple in.
Let's do a couple questions.
I think we'll get in trouble. Yeah.
With who? The podcast police?
No, with Sarah.
The podcast
Mom,
queen.
leave us alone. Sarah can't hurt us. She's with her girlfriend.
That's true. Okay. This is a question from Argyle Funk on Tumblr. Dear Hakipagutata, are you ready for the Democratic primaries coming up in a year or so? Are you ready for hell? Are you sure? Jesus. This is really escalating. Are you ready to vote for Harris Booker 2020 and be called a racist, sexist, brocialist if you criticize them? It's time to fall in love and support what everyone loves, the status quo. Personally, I can't wait for the Democrats to lose to Donald Trump again. It's gonna own. Thanks, Argyle. Wow, this is a real speech, Argyle.
Yeah.
I'm not excited for 2020 is what I'll say about this. I think it's going to be... I think starting in 2019 and all the way through 2020 is going to be two of the slowest years of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I didn't see the text of this question. Did Argyle say that Kamala Harris and Cory Booker were going to run together?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening. They're going to run separate.
Well, I think he's assuming that one of them will win the primary.
Win and then adopt the other as running mate.
Yeah.
I wonder about even that.
I think if anything, it'd be Warren who is likely to win, right? Or actually, you know what? It's going to be Biden. And we're going to it's going to be Joe Biden, and we're going to have to vote for him.
No, oh my god! As much as like it's funny to like joke, I don't think he's actually going to do it because
he better not.
He just seems so fucking tired.
What, Daddy Biden?
Good.
Yeah,
he should go to sleep.
Yeah, he forever. Nah,
that's not what I meant. But I mean, he did just give a long speech about how great John McCain was, but didn't every single Democrat.
Well,
so.
I'm sure Obama would too.
Yeah. Every politician had to do that.
Obama's probably gonna speak at the funeral. Or,
yep.
Well, did the funeral happen?
No, I think he's just chilling in his casket out in public.
McCain with a 40 in the death basket. John McCain funeral city.
Oh boy. All right.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's excited for that.
No,
but thanks,
it's
Argyle.
gonna suck. Another question from Argyle. Dear Hikipgidida, how did Donald Trump get so good at using his mouth? Thanks, Argyle. Lots of
Eating
practice.
lots of popsicles.
Oh God.
I refuse to answer this question.
Yeah. Okay, this is one from PR The Disaster on Tumblr. Hey, American host, do you have any tips on surviving while having a far-right motherfucker as a president? It's an election year over here. I don't know where you're from, I'm sorry. But the
I think...
Oh, Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
The perspectives for the results are horrid, and the fact that I have to be asking this is proof that it's a hell world we're in. Tips on surviving.
I think it really depends on how old you are.
Yeah.
Because if you're not of the age to leave yet, then you just kind of gotta be like, well, this sucks for right now.
Yeah.
But I need to distract myself as much as possible with other things, and then one day I'll get out of here.
We pretty much just do a podcast, and like when I hang out with friends, we yell about it for a couple hours and then decide to move on. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Do a podcast.
Yeah.
We really shouldn't be recommending that anyone do a podcast.
No.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
It's a lot of work. Don't do that. But I don't know. It just sucks sometimes. I'm sorry. It's
a media escapism. I hate to say it, but
it's
like
true.
lose yourself in a good TV show or something.
Video games.
Yeah. Video games.
Nice. All right.
Yeah,
this is a question from Wonder
Big
Bar. How many Rust Belt / Southern states hit hard by the opioid crisis do you think will follow British Columbia's example of suing the shit out of Purdue and other opioid manufacturers at the state level? Or will the governor / attorneys general, especially of the redder states, be too chicken shit / paid off to take any sort of action? And it'll be left up to individual municipalities instead, like with the Cleveland, Ohio-based Metro Health lawsuit. So that might be a little bit hard to follow if you're just listening to this for the first time. But basically what happened is Purdue is this, manufacturer of medicine, including opioids, and they were sued.
I thought they made the chickens.
Yeah, they might do that too. But they were sued by both British Columbia, it's a place up in Canada, if you were wondering. And then also...
Thanks.
Do we have to tell people where British Columbia is?
It's a joke.
They'll think it's in Britain or Columbia.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of confusing. Or Metro Health, which is like a hospital system that's based in the Midwest. And both of them sued Purdue. Basically, I think what they're suing is that Purdue basically really heavily downplayed the addictive qualities of opioids and sold them hard to doctors in hospitals, and was just overall misleading about the effects. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
I don't think they will sue.
Yeah, Matt of the show is saying that a state also sued the maker of OxyContin or something 11 years ago. Yeah, Jesus. So basically it's an opioid epidemic. The question is it going to be up to the state to take care of it, or is it going to be up to healthcare providers? And I really don't fucking know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a hard time seeing the government caring enough for the most part.
No, me neither. I just don't think they really... Because they don't care about the people who have been affected by this. I don't think they'll care enough about suing.
It's very cool that British Columbia is doing this, but I can't imagine what it would take for this to actually be there's so much else going on in the world that honestly a lot of places aren't even thinking about it that much. I think Metro Health actually did this because they were getting a lot of shit, so they're oh, we can pass the buck on to an opioid manufacturer, basically. I think that's what it takes, is people getting mad enough that eventually someone does something about it. Which, I mean, that's how all change in the world works, but...
Yeah, it's really, I'm not well educated enough on the topic to really get into, the opioid crisis, but I do have to, wonder aloud, how much of the responsibility is on the manufacturers of opioids and how much is on, the professionals who are prescribing them.
It's really both. It's the whole system is fucked because it's all based in capitalism, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the simplest explanation, is that people are making money off of this, so they're all going to keep doing it.
And it's kind of a twofold crisis, though, because on the one hand, it's very easy for people who shouldn't be getting these drugs are getting them and it's like ruining their lives. But on the other hand, people that need them in a lot of cases can no longer get them.
It's true.
Because of the backlash from this sort of public health crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I struggle really to understand the opioid crisis because, I mean, I guess because we don't have that, paying for healthcare thing. It's really hard to get painkillers here.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense, but even me, like, I said, I'm in pain like every single day, and then my doctor's just like, you can take over the counter stuff. You're fine. What you're saying. Yeah.
Well,
and it's like
Yeah, sorry. That's part of what led to this. I know. I was listening to Sawbones' episode about this, and they talked about there were a lot of people that realized that started suing basically like doctors and hospitals for not appropriately treating their pain by not being willing to actually help them, and just. I mean, this especially happens to women and especially happens to people of color because you're right, they're not believed about how much pain they're in. They're like, oh, you're just being weak or being a wuss about it or whatever. So it's a really tough thing.
Both, so no one likes me. No, but there's a fine line to it. But then the other part of me is like, I don't want to be on opioids every single day.
Right.
But there are people who do need it.
Yes.
And I do think with my experience with doctors, they're the type of people who, there are obviously doctors who help, but there are doctors who, when you tell them you're in pain, they just go, okay, get out of here. Because they don't want to deal with it if they don't know how to fix it. Yep. So it's very easy to write a prescription and say, here you go, this will help. And it doesn't do anything because you're fixing the symptoms and not the problem.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a bit on everyone. I understand why these doctors have done this, but I don't think it's acceptable in the slightest.
Yeah.
I mean, and they have a lot of incentive to do that because for the same reasons of money, honestly, like wanting to fit in as many patients a day as they can, and also just straight
kickbacks from prescriptions.
Kickbacks, exactly.
Yeah.
What can you do?
All right. Anonymous asks, once the planet is nearly cooked and we finally ended capitalism, how do you feel about sending all the oil tycoons to a small glass bubble on the dark side of the moon as punishment for their crimes against humanity?
Sounds cool to me.
Yeah,
it sounds like a lot of money, though.
Oh,
we could just make a guillotine.
Also, there's no such thing as the dark side of the moon.
What about the Pink Floyd album?
What about it?
Yeah, it fucking slaps. No, I don't know. I'm a fake fan. I don't think I've ever actually listened to Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety.
That was gonna be my light bringer.
Oh man! Oh, we still gotta do those, huh? Let's knock this last question out. So, Tumblr user Bialystock and Bloom asks, since Elon Musk was on an episode of The Simpsons, when will Jeff Bezos make an appearance, and what will the episode be like? So I feel like the episode featuring Jeff Bezos is definitely going to be it's going to be like Homer working in an Amazon factory, but it's
oh my god, and he's worked to death.
Yeah, he's worked to death, or it's the opposite, and it's pro Amazon propaganda, and it's too good of a workplace, and he doesn't fit in with the company culture.
Yeah, if they were gonna have Jeff Bezos be on the episode, that would make sense.
Yeah. If they go the he's overworked to death route, it would be a parody of Jeff Bezos. It would be like Lef Bezos. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm curious about this Elon Musk episode though.
Yeah.
This is kind of a Family Guy funny moments. I can't
not watch it.
Yeah.
Are we all desperately Googling this?
I am desperately Googling it right now.
Let's see.
So let's see here. The Musk Who Fell to Earth. It's the name of the episode. Homer and his new friend, an inventor named Elon Musk, revolutionized Springfield's nuclear plant. Mr. Burns wants to get rid of Musk after the inventor goes too far. Hey, he doesn't fucking look like this.
He looks like Jason Isaacs.
Okay.
Can you see it?
A little bit.
Mr. Burns in this episode attempts to assassinate Elon Musk. Welcome to the resistance,
wow.
Mr. Burns.
This episode was written by Neil Campbell, a freelance writer. It guest stars Elon Musk as himself. Executive producer Elon Musk, executive producer Al Jean stated they tried to make the episode not a kiss-ass guest star turn, and the episode contains many jabs at Musk's perceived egotism.
Okay, sure.
Musk was a fan of the series, having watched the show since attending university. He guest starred on the show because he and executive producer James L. Brooks had a meeting, after which Brooks was convinced he wanted a fictional version of Musk on the show. Oh. It's not a fictional version of it, it's just him.
It's just him.
No.
It got a C from the AV Club. Who are famously easy to please, so...
This was in January
my favorite
2015,
joke is,
by the way.
My favorite joke is when they cut away to Grimes and cockroaches crawl out of her mouth.
Shut up!
God.
Oh, you know that their take on Grimes would be, like, way off the mark and also, like, mildly misogynistic.
It's extremely.
But Lisa would love her. Lisa, like, is the biggest fan. It's like that Gaga episode.
Oh my god. Alright, so, we want to do Lightbringers?
Has anyone done Mitski?
No!
Okay, I will. I'm gonna be a cowboy, baby.
I listened to that album. It was very good.
It's very good.
It's really good.
I like it a lot.
I don't think there's a song on the album that I dislike.
Yeah.
I think it's all slapping, all banging, all bops.
There are a few tracks that I don't remember as clearly, but I liked all of them.
There's a couple of songs I don't love, but then the majority of it, I'm like, this speaks to me. I love it.
What's your favorite?
I think she's a pearl.
That's what I was gonna say. I really liked that one.
It's really good.
I thought the lyrics in that one were like spectacular.
Yeah.
Honestly, I still like Geyser a lot. Like,
nobody goes off.
Oh yeah.
No, Geyser is my favorite. I think Geyser is the one I'm like, this is
It's
me.
a great opener.
It's a great opener, and me and my husband has been stuck in my head for about like a week.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to listen to this.
It's such a good album.
All right. Yeah, so mine, I don't even care if someone else did this. Mine is Sweetener by Ariana Grande. I haven't listened to
Just listen to that one too.
Yeah, I haven't listened to a whole lot of Be the Cowboy just because it's been pretty much Sweetener on repeat.
What are your top tracks from Sweetener?
Gotta Be Successful. I love how like wonky and like how like video game music it sounds. It's so good.
I don't remember which one that is. I've only listened to the album once.
It's the one that sounds like the Rossetti music.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to pick Sweetener, but I think we spent 2 whole episodes talking about Sweetener.
Oh, really?
On City Girls. Yeah.
I'll get there.
My friend was telling me about the album before I got a chance to listen to it. She's a big Ariana Grande fan.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned she was like, oh, it's really good. The track with Nicki Minaj is not good, and it sounds like carnival music. And like when
what's wrong with carnival music?
It sounds like if you listen to it, the cadence of it is like literally like do 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 do.
Oh, I thought you meant like Brazilian. Like
no,
carnival,
not
carnival,
like not carnival, carnival.
We just say carnival. Don't be fancy.
Carnival.
All right, next Lightbringer.
Oh fuck. I accidentally just like wiped my mind of my Lightbringer. Give me like 2 seconds. I don't remember if I talked about this already as my Lightbringer because I've been playing this for a while, but I just finished God of War for the PS4.
Oh yeah.
And like I gotta say, that is a good fucking video game.
It's a very good game.
Like it's the things that I liked about it, on top of like just being like a good game that's like really really fun to play, with a really satisfying level of challenge, was the fact that like even though this is like taking place in like it uses like the Norse mythology and like it, you know, there's this huge enormous like, you know, mythology to draw from, they still keep the conflict of the story mostly to like a smaller family drama. They don't use Odin or Thor at all in the story, which is an enormous amount of restraint.
They're referenced a lot, but you can tell they're going to show up later.
Right, they make like a sequel or DLC or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But Thor's shitty sons show up at one point. And I remember at the time thinking about like, oh, like this kind of just seems like a weird distraction. But then when I remembered that a big theme of the game was like about like parenting and like the heavy suggestion that like Thor is like a shitty dad to these dudes, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense to me. But yeah, it was I was surprised with how like moving the story was. You played it, right, Josh?
Yeah, I played it all the way through, and I loved it. The only bad part is the
Niflheim fucking sucked, and I
the
beat
worst.
it. I beat it all the way through, and I hated every second of it. So yeah, God of War, PS4.
All right, now that we got the sponsor money out of the way,
yeah. Thank you
Sony
for listening. Santa
Monica. and thanks everyone for listening to Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die. We are on Tumblr at HKIPGTD, on Twitter at the same, Gmail is the same, Patreon is the same. And we want to thank our patrons. If you give $1, then you get access to whatever bonus content we produce, so that includes like Lightbringers, post-show
and the
stuff.
special role of Comrade in the Discord.
No, that's not. No, they have to give $5 for that. Sorry, just dangle it in front of you. But if you get $5, then you get a shout out in the podcast, which we'll do shortly, and then also you get a special Discord role. And then if you get $10, then you get an even more special Discord role called Conrad. And then you can also listen in on the podcast, which
no one is.
Yeah,
doing.
Weirdly enough, usually there's like 3 or 4 people listening, but.
No wonder I'm performing so well.
That's pretty much it. Thank you all so much. We all I think Allie, you're using a mic that came from Patreon money, right?
Yeah.
As am I, along with a pop screen and also along with headphones. So thank you.
I'm not, but love you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna read off some of the names right
you.
now. We want to thank Rowan Berg, Paige Messer, David Bozer, Alex Schaup, Pregnant Seinfeld, Nick Jagged, Og Vorbis, Six Armed Sweater, Mogu the Panda, Chaz Thunderguns, Pepperoni and Cheese. Well, it's spelled in a very cute way, though. Carrie J, M. Chambers, Stephanie Ruff, Kadeho Jones, Delaney Fritz, The Tallest Jew, Evan with 2 exclamation points, Benjamin Kingstone Faria, Lowe, Ellen the Anarcho Lalandiest, Ashinu, Petaz, Harry Tomlinson, Surrey Jack, Michael Weems, Dijonais, PR the Disaster, Brett Houts, Single Payer Sonic Mpreg, Scout Shiro, Helga K, 500 Bees, Jordan Hagen, Tuffster McGee, Non-Binary with Left Beef, or Non-Binary with Left Beef, Ollie Anders, and Summergeist. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of people. Thank you all so much.
I love every time for Pregnant Seinfeld.
Thank you for your patronage, literally, and also for your money patronage.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Semper Funny. And
Semper
we want
Funny.
to thank the Taxpayers for our theme song, Evil Men, off the album Cold Hearted Town.
It really should be evil people, though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Shatter that glass ceiling.
We'll get there.
Stay
I call it herstory. Join our Discord. It's great. I call it Herball. And I think that's it. Thanks for listening to Henry Kissinger Is Pokemon Going to Die? Not a Threat?
Just a fact.
Memento Pokemori.
Semper Funny.
Bye.
Bye.